Hey, yo, 1 more minute. Actually, it's like 50 seconds. But yeah. This is technically variety. That's actually true. Okay, we're starting. Let's go. All right. I need to make sure that I learn the buttons properly so if I press it, we're good. Okay, cool. I got it. I got it. Perfect. Hello, everybody. Yeah. We're not playing League right now. That's pretty obvious. We're gonna be doing another press enter today. And I have, I got the new headset on. I got it all set up and everything. I know I unboxed it last night on stream, so having it on now, it's so cute. And I wore like pink today. So, welcome everybody. I'm gonna give us a couple minutes before I start the opening statement and my welcome speech. And yeah, but hi everybody, welcome. Thank you, Razor. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, thank you, DTS. Welcome, Mike. Hello, everybody. That is honestly because the enter is enter button. The enter button, it makes sense. It looks like it's the enter button. It's good. It's good. All right, let's start because the first panel is going to begin around 12:05, which is in 4 minutes. So I think we can get the welcome speech over with quickly. Here we go. All right, welcome everybody to Press Enter Rise Edition. This is the 4th ever Press Enter, and it is a very special Press Enter today because it'll be taking place over Discord, as it always is. However, we have very, very special guests today. I want to introduce myself before we do the whole thing. My name is Jaden Wayming Diaz. I am 23 years old and I go by Your Princess, and my preferred pronouns are she, her. I've been streaming on Twitch for over 4 years, as you guys know, and I really enjoy gaming and just helping create Twitch and the gaming industry a more inclusive space for all. Our center was created originally to give a space for women or non-binary gamers to share their experiences and celebrate their achievements while taking part in the gaming and esports industry. However, today I am happy to announce that Press Center is branching out, and we are going to be working with the National Breast Cancer Foundation, Pedia, and Razor to help spread breast cancer awareness and just like give a ground for people to speak and on their personal experiences. We have cancer survivors and families of those who have been affected, and we also have representatives from the National Breast Cancer Foundation. So today, for the 4th ever virtually exclusive Press Enter Rise Edition, we will have a chance to hear from a diverse group of individuals, and we'll basically be having 3 segments today. The first one will be two speakers from the National Breast Cancer Foundation. One is the National Breast Cancer Foundation, or I'll say NBCF for short. It's their president and CEO, Kevin Hale, and the NBCF Director of Education and Outreach, Cynthia Gonzalez, and she'll be speaking on her involvement in the foundation as well as Kevin's involvement in the foundation, and they'll be giving us more information about breast cancer in general. Following that 2-on-1, we will be talking to the lovely. Actually, first we'll be talking to Pamela, who also is another content creator on Twitch. I was actually looking her stream and like seeing like some of her VODs that she had. She plays a lot of cozy games. And she's also a cosplayer. She cosplayed as Bayonetta, which was really, really cool. And she is a cervical cancer survivor, and we're hearing from her on her personal experience. And we also have Walanika Lum on her life and what she's been through. She's a breast cancer survivor herself, and I've known her ever since I was 9 years old. And we will wrap it up at the end. So, yes. Also, today, in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, like for the whole month of October, all proceeds of the headset that I'm wearing, the Razor Quartz gear, will go towards the Breast Cancer Foundation to educate screening and encourage screening and educate others and help women get access to care. Cool. All right. So for the first panel that we have today is basically all about the Breast Cancer Foundation, their roles, and the experience of breast cancer, or their experience with Breast Cancer Foundation. Their experience with breast cancer. All right. Let me join the call real quick, and then I will get the next panel started. One sec. Okay, I got it. I got everything's ready, chat. Okay, so introducing the first two speakers that we have. Let me pull up my sheet real quick. All right, so we have Kevin Hale, who is the NBCF president and chief operating officer. His pronouns are he, him. He's cultivated. Hold on. Hold on. Let me go to the other one real quick. There we go. There we go. Perfect. This. Actually, I'll read Cynthia's first, and then I'll read Kevin's, because I need to pull up this thing real quick. It didn't get updated. One sec. One moment. Thank you for waiting. Oh. For some reason, the bio did not get updated, even though it should have been. Here we are. Perfect. Okay, cool. So Kevin Hale is the National Breast Cancer Foundation Chief Operating Officer and has been a part of the NBCF for over 18 years. His mother, Janelle Hale, founded the foundation 31 years ago and is a breast cancer survivor. Kevin is an avid gamer who founded the Game Pink movement at the National Breast Cancer Foundation, really pioneering the efforts to create community and awareness in the gaming space. Similar to mine, but yes. And then Cynthia. Cynthia is the Director of Education Outreach and has been at the National Breast Cancer Foundation for over 7 years. Cynthia works really hard to put programs to action by breaking down barriers to care via access and education and resources that lead to the Community Ambassador Program. She has a personal connection with breast cancer awareness as well. Okay, welcome both of you guys. Thank you guys for speaking. Let me pull up this. Perfect. And you can unmute whenever you'd like, Cynthia. Thank you. All right. Let me pull up questions. Cool. All right. So I have several questions for both of them today. And let us begin. Wait, could we have you guys say hi real quick? I think it should work.
Hello, hello.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So, Kevin, we can start with you. What, how would you, or what, I guess I've already like introduced you guys, but we'll have you guys introduce yourselves. What is your guys' names and role, and how long have you been a part of National Breast Cancer Foundation?
Yes, my name is Kevin Hale. I'm President and Chief Operating Officer of National Breast Cancer Foundation. Like you said, I've been a part of it officially for 18 years, but since my family started it around the kitchen table about 31 years ago, I was a forced volunteer when I was 14 years old. As it is with any small business or nonprofit, when your family starts it, you're going to be licking envelopes, carrying boxes around, and things like that. So long before that had even happened, what got me into this and got our family into this was my mom was a breast cancer patient in 1981, so about 10 years before that, and it hit our family pretty hard. She survived it. But about 10 years later, my parents really felt a calling to make a commitment to start the organization. And they sat my older brother and I down at the kitchen table and said, we're going to start this foundation. And it really took a long time to build kind of that grassroots movement. It was many, many years before we had any kind of a presence even outside of Texas, really. And then it started to pick up speed. And we just happened to be in here before something called the internet existed. And that certainly changed things. So when my gaming went back to Atari and television, and then the original, the greatest system of all, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the original one, I got it when I was 1986 Christmas. I still have a picture of that. That was the happiest moment of my life. Don't tell my wife I said that, though.
Thank you. Cynthia, could you go ahead and introduce yourself and how long you've been at the National Breast Cancer Foundation for?
Yes, of course. So my name is Cynthia Gonzalez, and I've been at NBCF for 7 years. I'm super excited to share with you guys about our mission and about what we're all about. In 2015, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with breast cancer, and NBCF was a really amazing resource for her. And so it made me just believe so much more in what we do, and not just for her, but for so many women, so many people out there that need access to services, that need education. So, any chance that I get in memory of her, I want to share about the importance of just being aware of your health.
Thank you. Now, I know you mentioned in there the mission of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Kevin, could you lead for that question?
Yes, in fact, I'm going to cheat. Now, everyone's supposed to know their mission by heart, and I do, but it's right off camera. So if I can read that, then listen to how
Go for
fluent it is.
it.
NBCF is about helping women now. That is the core of what we do. We want to get right to the heart of it and help in this moment. When you're facing breast cancer, everything in your life shuts down and stops. As anyone knows who's facing any kind of cancer, potentially terminal illness, your whole life is put on a hold. And so what we specifically do is we provide help through mammograms, screening services, early detection, support services, and really just come alongside and make sure that no woman is going to go through that and no family is going to go through breast cancer alone.
How have you guys personally been affected by breast cancer? I know you guys kind of had hinted it, but like how could you go into that a little bit more?
Cynthia, why don't you take this one with your mother?
Yes, yes. So I mentioned that in 2015, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I got to see secondhand some of the harsh realities of breast cancer. She was diagnosed in a later stage. Believe it or not, we come across this all the time where women tell us, well, I did feel something that wasn't normal, but I waited months, sometimes I waited years. And that was her story. She waited months, almost an entire year before telling anyone about it. And so that's when NBCF came and was a great resource for her, for so many of the women that we serve. And I think everyone knows of someone that has had either breast cancer, they have a friend, a loved one. So it's all about supporting those people that are impacted, not just by breast cancer, but a lot of other cancers and illnesses.
Yeah, and 1 in 8 women in their lifetime are going to experience breast cancer, and that means that to that end, that really everyone is touched by it. So by this point, by being a part of the organization for my nearly my whole life, I'm aware of it. I'm very aware of it. I'm constantly, and even at my age, I'm in my mid 40s, and I have a lot of friends who are now their wives are getting diagnosed, and I've lost some friends from breast cancer, and so it just starts to become more and more meaningful when you personally are impacted by it. Even when I was a kid and my mom had breast cancer, you don't really comprehend that, but as you start to see people being it feels like they're just being targeted by cancer. That's why we hate it so much, and what that does to rob people of precious days with their families. It really puts a fire in you to do something to stop it, and to rally, to do whatever you can to fight against it.
It's a very introduction question, but what is breast cancer for those who don't know? And is breast cancer the most common cancer impacting women in the US?
Yes, so breast cancer is basically, in simple terms, a malignant, so a bad tumor in the breast tissue. And even doctors many times can't even pinpoint an exact cause or the reasons why one woman gets breast cancer versus someone else. It is currently the leading cause of cancer deaths, with the exception of skin cancers.
And I know you talked earlier about women getting early detection, Kevin. Why is early detection important?
Well, so we look at cancer in stages, and what they go up through four. There's actually a stage 0, and then they'll have classifications like A and B, and that means different things. But basically, what it means when you have a lower stage, like stage 0 or stage 1, is that cancer is localized, meaning that it's in the tissue of the breast, and therefore it hasn't had a chance to spread through the lymph system. The lymph system is like the highway of your body, and the cancer cells can basically get spread out through the lymph nodes, out and distributed into the rest of the body. And as you can imagine, they're microscopic, and it can be really hard to detect that. And so even though someone may end up dying of cancer that's in their brain or in their other organs, if it originated in the breast, and we call that breast cancer because that cancer is often responds to treatments. So what we believe in, what we've seen, is that when you get ahead of that and you can detect breast cancer as early as possible in the localized stage, then you have a chance to do different treatments that are very comprehensive and eliminate that spreading process from happening. And so the wonderful news about this is that if it's detected within stage 1 or stage 0, then and in the localized stage, then it's basically, they say 100%. The National Cancer Institute says 100%. It's 99.999% effective at reducing the mortality rate. And
Mhm.
so that's what we just believe how important that is, that women. And so I guess I would say, what do you do? Well, so that's why you need to have, as a woman, especially over the age of 40, we start recommending that you're meeting with your doctor once a year, and that you're getting annual mammograms. And that is still the most effective preventative plan that we have. So getting ahead of that means having a plan, having an early detection plan, and staying on top of that every year. And that dramatically increases your chances of detecting it early, and therefore living by being able to treat it.
I also wanted to ask, well, I kind of made this question myself because I think it was an interesting question, but who gets breast cancer? It's not only women, correct?
Correct. So, like Kevin mentioned, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So, there are a lot of women that are impacted by this disease. But 1% of all breast cancer diagnoses actually are found in men. And there are over 500 men that will die as a cause of the disease this year. So it is not just the
Oh.
disease that affects women, it also impacts men. And many times we think, well, men can support the women, but to know that there are men that are being diagnosed with breast cancer really brings perspective that this disease goes a lot beyond that. It directly impacts men, or it can directly impact men.
Yeah.
Are there any known things that can cause breast cancer?
Well, breast cancer there are several different things to consider. There's environmental, meaning, um, obviously things that are external to your body. There's genetic, hormones. So the real takeaway on this is that a lot of people feel like if I eat this certain food or if I do this certain thing, I'm going to get cancer from it.
Mhm.
And it's important that conventional wisdom changes pretty often. There are some pretty obvious things, but really what we recommend is, of course, just living a healthy life as much as you can. Things in moderation, and then paying attention to your early detection plan. When you can really go deep into this type of thing and try to understand out of fear, maybe someone in your family had breast cancer and you're worried, and so living in fear that if I eat this certain thing or if I'm around this certain thing that I'm going to get cancer. And I think what we want people to know is to always, if this is important to you, is to try to arm yourself with knowledge. It's important to stay connected to organizations like National Breast Cancer Foundation and really reputable organizations that do studies and research and are committed to finding a cure and making sure that we have the best up-to-date information. But to not be living in fear about it, just to do your best to try to take control of that.
And as people who have supported and been in families with those suffering from breast cancer and surviving, how would you guys say you support someone or can support someone that is going through that?
Yeah, there are so many different ways that you can provide support to your loved ones that have been diagnosed, to your friends. Like Kevin was mentioning, also just arming yourself with information. Many times people are afraid to find out, to learn more. So you can start doing some research on their behalf and sending it to them in a way that is not overwhelming to them. That would be a really great option. And then we have some great resources on our website. We have a specific guide called What to Say to a Cancer Patient, because what we found is that so many people are afraid to say the wrong thing. So they just don't say anything at all. And that can make the patient feel very isolated, feel like they have no support system. And I think that's the opposite of what we want to do. So in being afraid, sometimes we just drop back. But if we just know the person and we know what would make them feel better, what would make them find hope, then we can do some things like, starting a fundraiser in their honor, just being a part of something like today that is already supporting so many people that are affected by breast cancer. And then also doing things that if you know the person, maybe it's going with them to an appointment, providing hope, providing support, doing things to lift up their spirit, being a positive influence or a positive light in their day. All of those things can really help breast cancer patients, your loved ones, and your friends.
Thank you. And I know it's a very simple question, or some people will say, oh, chemo is a treatment, but what is the treatment for breast cancer besides chemo? But yeah.
Well, as I was mentioning a moment ago, the earlier the detection occurs, and especially if it's localized, there's something, for instance, called lumpectomy, and a
Mhm.
lumpectomy is a specific targeted removal of the tumor, the affected breast tissue. It's a um, smaller procedure. They used to do, back when my mom had breast cancer, they would do mastectomies, which is the removal of the entire breast. And that's obviously, as you can imagine, much more invasive and recovery is significant. So getting an earlier detection allows you to do a very targeted removal. And then maybe you may need to do radiation therapy, which is very uncomfortable, but compared to chemotherapy, it's obviously considerably better. And chemotherapy is really, as we like to say, it's just basically um, it's what you have to do because we don't have anything better yet for it. There's always the promise of a new treatment. We want nothing that when I talk to great research doctors at some of the greatest medical facilities around the world, and they are working constantly to find treatments that are more effective. Chemotherapy is incredibly difficult on the body, but we've been working for decades to improve even chemotherapy to have the least invasive and least effects on the body. So I want everyone to know that if you've seen someone go through in the past, maybe you've seen someone go through chemotherapy and their hair is falling out and their body's wrecked from it. Those considerations to do those treatments are not taken lightly. It's really is a life or death in that case, and I want you to know that that is improving significantly. The treatment protocols are getting more specific and more targeted, and instead of just sort of carpet bombing your body to try to eliminate the cancer cells, now we're getting very specific, and so the hope is that in the future we're going to be able to do as little as we need to do to be able to eliminate cancer and let people live with a great quality of life.
Thank you. Can you share some more facts about breast cancer or just cancer in general?
Sure. So every 2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer. So even if we think of,
Wow.
how many minutes we've been on this call, there have been several women that have been diagnosed with breast cancer. That means so many families that have been impacted because it doesn't just affect the patient, it affects their entire circle, their family, their friends, the people that love them. Another stat that I also wanted to share is that there are 3.8 million survivors, breast cancer survivors in the US today. That means that there have been so many advancements, like Kevin was mentioning,
Yay.
in treatment, in early detection, and it's important for people. I think it's important for people to share their story. I know you're going to get to hear that later on because there are people that are diagnosed with breast cancer, and fortunately it is an early detection, and they are able to tell their story of hope and how they overcame and how people rallied around them, and we're also all about that.
Something I'd love to hear is some other activations that you guys have had within the Breast Cancer Foundation. I didn't get a chance to hear them.
Yeah, there are several wonderful things. When we talk about activations, as you know, that's why we're talking today in part about this, is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful chance for us to kind of step into the light and talk about this subject. I mean, I know that it can be hard for a lot of people. They've gone through tragedies connected to breast cancer, and it's challenging to talk about a really difficult subject. So we always applaud the companies like Razor who's willing to have that conversation and give a platform to NBCF. So I think some of the activations you see just out in the marketplace, if you see a pink ribbon on a water bottle or whatever it may be, in this case, awesome computers and accessories and things, take a look at it, see who it's supporting, dig in a little bit, learn about it. There are some really amazing partnerships that are happening in this space. A lot of them we're a part of, and getting to talk to the consumers and get the consumers excited. Of course, we have Game Pink. We do this. This really appeals directly. I was on a stream last night for 3 hours playing Rocket League. It was 3 hours because it took us that long to get 10 wins for whatever that means. But we were so exhausted by the end. But I was on a really great stream with some guys, and we had a lot of fun. We do a lot around Game Pink. This time of year especially, we have a lot of really wonderful Mother's Day campaigns. But for all that information, we'd love for you to go check out our social media channels. You can pop on nbcf.org, and I'm sure we'll have all that information for you. If you'd like to volunteer, there's opportunities connected to that. But we're just excited to make your acquaintance for all the people that are watching this.
Appreciate that. Thank you. That was my question too, for good sources, people to learn more. I was actually learning some of the questions I actually made was through the website because you guys had a lot of good information and it's a really good source. Cool. Thank you. And then I always ask people on my stream during the press enter event, describe a moment in your life where you press enter. It kind of like ties the whole thing together. And basically like press enter like on your keyboard. And this could be with anything. And I guess we can make it revolving around the National Breast Cancer Foundation awareness in general.
All right. What specifically would you like us to press enter about?
It could be anything that you are proud of. So, for example, in the past, people like press enter on like an email or something, or like they press enter the keyboard where they send a message to someone or something that you know what I mean? Press enter. Yeah.
Okay. Cynthia?
I'm trying to think if I have something that's interesting enough. I think getting out of our comfort zones in so many different areas, even in breast cancer, partnering and being a part of today, that was like a press enter for me. I had never been a part of something like this before. We have a lot of media opportunities like radio, TV. This is my first, and I just felt so cool doing it and out of my comfort zone. So this was my press enter.
I would say, yeah, and I would say for me and just for the organization, we are always trying to look for our blind spots. Not since the very beginning, NBCF has been about solving problems and trying to just help people in the most practical ways. So for us, I think it can be easy for any organization to just settle back into your routines and here's another October, and this is what we do and what we're good at. And we are always challenging ourselves and asking the communities that we talk to challenge us to get more effective at helping. And just like I was reading our mission statement, it's about helping people right where they are right now. So if that means a shift or a change in how we help people, then that's what for us is how we want to press enter. We want to definitely make the effort to understand what people's needs are so we can help fix those problems with them.
And what is one message you'd like everybody to take away from today? Thank you guys again for speaking.
I would like to see people use the resources that are available instead of living in fear. If you're a woman or you have, in this case, maybe it's your mom or someone, and they've expressed concern about going to see their doctor, it's not too late. It's never too late to go and meet with your doctor. You increase your chances of surviving cancer. So we've seen people that have waited and to the last minute to go and the cancer tumor has grown. So I would just encourage everyone to make sure that you have a plan and that you take advantage of these amazing resources because no one should have to be an island unto themselves and suffer alone. There's a community to help you and support you. We're not going to leave you alone. We're going to make sure that you have resources you need, whether that be financial resources or emotional support. And we just ask that all you do is just reach your hand out for help.
Thank you so much. Also, this
Thank
is
you.
another thing to add. Are you able to move your camera so you can see the gigantic sign behind you? I just want to see. Nice. Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
This was when our original building, actually this building that we had rented, and when we moved to our new headquarters, we said, "Can we take that sign with us?" And they were like, "What are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it?" And someone's like, "Let's just put it on the wall. Why not? It's really cool."
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, chat. I'm gonna set up the next call real quick, and we're going to be having Pamela on. So cool. Let's get it. All right. Let me get my cam up. Let's go. Okay, so everybody, welcome. Thank you, everybody. If you don't know what's going on, or you're new here and you haven't been listening for the past 41 minutes, actually it was 30 minutes because I had like a 10-minute intro. We are celebrating National Breast Cancer Awareness Month on my stream with all the logos they're all over the place. We had two representatives from the National Breast Cancer Foundation speak. Razor's here, Game Pink is here, Payday representatives are here, I'm here, and up next we also have Pamela Horton, who is a cancer survivor. She's a host as well and a content creator. She didn't say she was a cosplayer, but like if you go to her profile, she has an amazing cosplay of Bayonetta. It's so good. Okay, so I'm going to read her bio and then we'll bring her on. Pamela is a host, actress, and streamer, and a genetic cancer advocate. With her own brand of genuine positivity, she loves games, cats, music, and also cats. She likes cats. She likes cats, okay? She really likes cats. When she was like, we're doing a little tech check earlier, she had cats in the background. All right. Camilla, thank you for joining us. Let me change the screen real quick. There's a word. It's beautiful. Perfect. Beautiful. Welcome. Whenever you are ready, go ahead. There we go. All right, let me turn you up just a tad. Perfect. Are we gonna be able to see your cat?
I imagine I when my on voice comes on, he will come up on the desk, and since I'm not streaming, I won't accidentally end the stream. He likes to sit on my space bar and end my stream. So
Wait, has that happened before? I'm assuming it has.
all the time. Like I've had to apologize to my followers multiple times because it's like live notification. 10 minutes later, live notification. It's like it's my cat's butt. I'm not trying to bother you.
So, can we have you introduce yourself? I know I've done it like twice already, but I think it's best to have the person themselves do it. Could you use your name, introduction, wherever you're located? Let us know.
Well, my name's Pamela Horton. I have been in the gaming industry for a really long time. I've been hosting and, like you said, cosplaying, and right now I do streaming and a little bit of acting. I am based in Los Angeles because a lot of people come out here for the entertainment industry, but I came out here because I found the dream team of my healthcare team. So this is where I'm going to stay for a while.
I totally understand that. So before we get any questions about your story with cancer, could you share about a little bit what you do?
Right now, I am doing a lot. I work with like kind of off and on hosting. I do lots of Twitch streams. Yeah. I'm working on a script now. Like I'm trying to get into producing and directing, and that's new territory for me. So I don't have any like flashy things that I can talk about right now because I'm kind of trying to segue into new territory for myself. Yeah. So can't talk about what I'm doing, but you know, it's exciting.
And you've also done some work with Razer. Can you tell us a little bit about what your relationship with Razer is? Yeah.
Razer has been my longest standing relationship in gaming at all, ever. And like before I knew what I was going to do in gaming, Razer was like, how can we help you? How can we make this, a cohesive relationship? And I feel like they spoil me with how supportive they are of me, and how they let me, you know, be myself instead of, you know, I used to always say that I as a host, you know, I put out product that maybe I don't necessarily believe in, but with Razer, I really believe in the product. I call myself the quartz queen because I've got just I even got a Razer like PC. It's all Razer here. Got my Anki, like
the chair and everything.
It's all
Razer. So along the topic as well of gaming, what are some of your favorite games to play and stream?
I go back to, I have like my staples. So Minecraft, Diablo 3, No Man's Sky, play a lot of that. Right now for Spooktober, I am playing Resident Evil 8 because I don't like scary games and people like to watch me get scared. Same. So it's like I don't enjoy it, but people do. So, you know, power through to raise money. So that's what I'm playing right now.
And I see you on social media, you cosplay as Bayonetta, and I mentioned it in your intro. Do you dabble in other cosplay at all, and why Bayonetta?
So it's kind of funny. It was kind of like the perfect storm, because it wasn't just like, you know, one day I decided to cosplay Bayonetta. It was Nintendo wanted to do I used to work at Playboy, and they wanted to do kind of like a marketing matchup for Bayonetta 2. And so I got to wear a $25,000 cosplay with like Egyptian leather and 50 pounds of hair. It was so much. And you know, like that's the tippy top of cosplay for me. Like I've done Squirrel Girl and Illidan Storm Rage, but you know, like people are like Bayonetta, like Bayonetta's up there, and that's how I see it too.
I mean, the Illidan Storm Rage too. What the heck?
Yeah. I was like, I wasn't about to do because I mean, like, he's topless with his war glaives and stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to go topless. So I did kind of like a gender bend kind of to cover up the goods.
And how long have you been gaming for, like, overall, and streaming and
Oh.
hosting and everything?
So I've said this so many times. I knew how to do the first run of A Link to the Past before I knew how to tie my own shoes. So before I was even in kindergarten, I was
Oh my
playing A Link to the
gosh.
Past. Nintendo fangirl growing up. But I've been playing video games since before I could remember. And so I remember having a conversation with my dad once where he was like, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I was like, "I want to be a content creator." No, I was just kidding. I want to be a concept artist. And my dad was like, like, gaming is a tough industry for young ladies. And so I ended up going to school for art therapy. But then I kind of like fell into gaming anyways, Pursue your dreams, make it happen.
Exactly. Now, I know we're gonna have to get into this eventually, so I'm just gonna break the ice already. So we talked about when, how long you've been gaming for. We gotta talk about it. When were you diagnosed with cancer? The whole stream today is pretty much around Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we gotta get into it. Unfortunately,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and actually, I on your question, like the questions that you sent over in the PDF, I was like, there's a lot of cervical cancer questions, which is the first cancer that I had.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I've had cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, colon cancer.
Wow.
So I mean, like, that's why I'm like, I'm staying in LA because I have a team of doctors that trust me and I trust them. But I had my first bout with an abnormal PAP, and a PAP is the regular well woman's visit that a woman has for her downstairs. And I had my first abnormal PAP when I had just turned 18. And so I ended up having a couple like surgical procedures. They weren't like your stage blah 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 or whatever. It was just like, this is abnormal. We're gonna do this what's called a colposcopy, where it's like a cone procedure. They cut out the cervix, and then that's when they found out the margins were kind of not good, and they did more tests and found that the cancer was a little bit more advanced. And so I ended up having a really complicated time because at the time I was living in the Midwest, and like I said, I was 18. And so one of the best ways to prevent cancer in the cervix and the uterus is by prophylactic hysterectomy. Take it out. But no, they wouldn't let me, have a hysterectomy at 18. So I did radiation therapy and took a lot of crazy pills that made me like not feel good. And it just, I was working 2 full-time jobs and battling cancer full-time and going to school full-time. I was actually working at GameStop. But I just remember like, it just seemed like a punch in the face. Like, I'm an adult now, like it was really hard. It was really hard.
So you kind of explained already how it was initially detected. How long were you going through treatment, and what treatment can you share you received?
I've been in and out of remission so many times. I've had, if I had to say just specifically cervical cancer, I'd probably say I've been in and out like 8 times. So a lot of the times after the first one, I did radiation. I didn't want to do chemo because, I'm going to be perfectly honest, at the time, I wasn't telling anybody that I had cancer. Like, I had 3 friends that I told that helped me kind of like go to my appointments and stuff, but I didn't tell my family. I didn't want it to be obvious that, I was battling cancer, so I chose not to do chemo at the time. And, any surgical procedure that could be done to a cervix or an endometrium or anywhere in the vagina, I've had it done. Like, it's Like I wrote them down. It was like a leap procedure, colposcopy.
gosh.
Yeah, but I had I wrote it down. I was like, instead of just saying I had cervical cancer, I had adenocarcinoma, which is an aggressive form of cervical cancer. But yeah, the hardest thing was definitely the radiation. Definitely the radiation.
Did you ever get treated with chemo?
No, I actually, knock on everything forever.
No, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
not chemo. Mostly because it's poison. It takes out the good cells and the bad cells, and it
Yeah.
makes you really sick. And so, at the time, the hospital that I was being treated at had this new flashy, radiation machine, and they like strap you down to a table, and it's like targeted or it's external lasers. So
Mhm.
yeah, and that caused like problems with fertility because lasers at your bits and so, yeah, that was the hardest and most painful.
How did you balance going through treatment and posting content and even like working? I mean, you said you shared so many things, and I remember like even along my stream journey. I mean, I was not diagnosed with cancer when I was younger, but I've had like some severe medical problems. And
Oh yeah.
how do you, you know, how did you balance everything?
Well, I mean, I because of the type of illness that I have, I mean, because of my Lynch syndrome, which is a
Mm,
genetic disorder, it predisposes me to a laundry list of cancers. So, because of that, not many people know that you can have a genome sequencing test or a genetic test to find out what you're predisposed to. Everybody knows about the BRCA genes that predispose you to breast cancer. But Lynch syndrome actually, myself and my sister have Lynch syndrome, and so the moment that I was diagnosed with Lynch syndrome, I immediately built this healthcare team, and so my content kind of went from just being gaming and hosting to gaming and advocacy. And I also made a promise that to my viewers and to the people who watch my streams, I'm going to be real. If I'm not feeling good, or if I just had a surgery, which I have surgeries like 6 times a year, more,
mhm.
and all of them are like tests to make sure that everything's going okay. A lot of biopsies because Lynch syndrome, the mutation that I have, is essentially like when a cell in your body dies, there's a gene that tells your body to replace that cell. My gene is broken, so sometimes the body will replace that cell with cancer, and so that's how Lynch syndrome works for me, or works with me. And so we just got it's for the rest of my life. It's gonna be looking out and seeing if there's cancer, getting ahead of it. And because of the Lynch syndrome and my testing, I've actually gotten ahead. I haven't had a diagnosis worse than stage 1 in 10 years. So the tests are good.
Making
You
checkups,
got to get
yeah.
tested. Got to get
Yeah.
it detected.
Mhm. And I feel like posting about your journey, being diagnosed with cancer, the treatment, the process can be really helpful and inspiring to others.
Yeah.
Did you feel like very open, or did you feel like you had to be open with your story, or were there parts that you didn't feel like sharing with the public?
It was at the beginning. It took my ex-partner. He worked so hard to convince me that it does more good than harm in the long run to share about my history.
Mhm.
And it had taken so long for it to not feel like a secret that I'm like, oh, I can't tell anybody. It was
Yeah.
mostly me. I used to like to keep my medical stuff super private, and he convinced me that I can bring awareness to all these tests and the experience overall. And ever since then, it's been like it took one person telling me that they got genetic testing to find out that they also had a mutation that predisposed them to cancer for it to be worth it. It just the one person,
Yeah.
and I worth it. And so that I will use every breath until my dying day to advocate for testing and not just, physical testing like mammograms with breast cancer and stuff like that, but just, listening to your body. You got to listen to your body because it's speaking a language that only you understand. So, listen.
Along your recovery, what helped you overall? And do you think that gaming helped a lot with this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Gaming wasn't just a passion. It was an escape.
Escape,
It
yeah.
was escape. I feel like that puts it lightly. It was, I could just turn my brain off. At the time I was playing a lot of, I don't know if not many people played it, but Final Fantasy 11 online. I was playing a lot of that when I was 18 and getting into MMORPGs and World of Warcraft and stuff, and that helped. That helped a lot. If you want to take your mind off of something, get addicted to an MMO.
Do you think your lifestyle changed at all?
Oh yeah. Not the gaming lifestyle per se, but it, a lot of my day, a lot of my upkeep is reaching out to doctors and scheduling appointments and doing labs, and it's a lot, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
What advice, actually asked this question to the two representatives earlier, but what advice would you have to give someone the best support for a loved one going along through like breast cancer or cancer in general?
I would say trust what they're saying. If someone says, I'm okay, I need space, give them space. Listen and trust that what they're asking for is what they need. And because I had, all it took was one friend to overstep boundaries for me that kind of like made me like withdraw a little bit. But then, having the friends that have been an amazing support system. Like I have my very best friend in the world, Ashley. She's been there from the very beginning, and I would say be like Ashley, but people don't know Ashley, so you just gotta listen.
Good person.
You gotta listen and trust. Listen and trust.
What message do you have to provide to women and non-binary individuals in this community? I'd say like the gaming community, as well as, would you call it, I guess, loved ones that have gone through cancer or people, anyone, just
like advice to give to them, or
a message or anything you want to say to them. I guess
I think the most helpful thing, especially with the genetic cancer, if you get tested and you find out that you have a genetic cancer, I really recommend therapy, because there is it's really hard to explain how hard it is on you mentally, knowing that there is no treatment that can make this go away. This is forever. You have this mutation. And so I have a genetic counselor who, in all aspects of what I go through with Lynch syndrome, he's right there. He recommends the doctors, he recommends my therapists. And so regularly seeing a genetic counselor and a therapist just in general helps a lot. You can talk to somebody who isn't a family member, who doesn't have that emotional tie. Not that that's bad, that it's not bad at all, but if you've had cancer, there's a look on people's faces when you tell them that you have cancer. And it's not that they're doing anything bad or wrong or hurtful. It's just, there's a look. And people who have had cancer know exactly what I'm talking about. So, talking to somebody that doesn't have an emotional tie into what you're going through is so helpful. So helpful.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tying it back to Razor being involved, what are some initiatives that Razor's doing for Breast Cancer Awareness Month? Do you know any of them?
Oh, do I? Well, I mean, as your quartz queen, I say go out there and buy as many quartz products as you can for the month of October because those proceeds are going to go to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. And we already heard how awesome they are. And
Very
we know
true.
how awesome Razor is. So this whole initiative, awesome. Take care of it. Buy your quartz gear. I love it.
They even called you the quartz queen. I saw that in
Yeah.
chat.
Hashtag quartz queen.
Now I ask every single person that comes to speak on Press Enter. We've had so many lovely people. Could you describe a moment in gaming where you press enter?
This is kind of something that I mean, I know you're looking for like inspirational, like I
No, it doesn't
did
even
this
have to. It doesn't even
job
have
or
to.
whatever.
It doesn't-
I was gonna say, pressing enter. I do this thing on my Discord where when Moose, the cat that you saw before, which I am so sad that he didn't come in here. I could go grab him real quick. I'll grab him for when we come back. But Moose Cat will sit on my keyboard and he'll type out messages, and so I press enter and let people see what he said, like what he typed with his butt, and people are always like, "Hi, Moose. You know, thank you for
Aw.
sharing." It's like Moose says, "Enter." I feel like even though it's not a cohesive message, you feel the love. You feel the
Yeah.
love when I press enter with Moose Cat's butt message.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
yeah,
We will speak. We will speak soon.
yeah.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, 1 second. I will be beginning the next panel soon. I'm so excited. Nika's here. Hi. Okay, hold on. Let me just stretch real quick. I'm just just stretching. All right, everybody. I'm going to announce the next panel. Let me pull up the little bio for Wolonika, even though I know everything about her by heart. But she wrote this about herself, so I want to read it to everybody. Okay, like who is here? Hello, hi everybody. Okay, by the way, before we start the next one-on-one that I have today, again we are celebrating National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are here. Razor's here. Patty is here. I'm here. We had representatives from the National Breast Cancer Foundation speak, and we also had Pamela come on, who's also a cancer survivor, host, content creator. She just spoke. So up next, we have Wolonika Lum. She is a breast cancer survivor. Her pronouns are she, her. She is a single mother of 3 girls and a pharmacist working at the Providence Humboldt Home Infusion Pharmacy in Northern California. She's a breast cancer survivor that was diagnosed in 2015 and is now in remission. Her message to women fighting for their life right now is that you can win this battle and overcome the obstacles for this frightening and humbling disease. I've known her, dude. She literally messages me and texts me like every single day, and it makes me so happy. And I know that my sleeping schedule is ruined when she says good morning and I'm still awake. Welcome, Wolonika, to my stream for the first time. You can unmute your mic and say anything whenever you want. Oh, you're muted right now. Oh, on the Discord, click the unmute button.
So sorry.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Perfect. All right. Let me get the questions
Thank you.
ready. Hi, it's nice to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, welcome. I really appreciate you coming on.
It's really nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, the description for this panel that we have is the world of Wolonika Lum and what she's overcome. Could you introduce yourself, where you're located, and how did we meet each other? Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
I'm sorry, I'm not getting any sound.
Oh no! Let me see. Your headset's working though. Hold up. We're gonna fix the audio real quick. Hold on. Let me see. 1 second. Oh, wrong button.
Hi, Jaden. Sorry, for whatever reason, I'm not getting any sound or audio. Yes, I'm there. Yes. Yes, I am. It's on output for the Razer Bermudas. No. Okay. I can hear you. I can hear you now. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Nice. What did
Sorry
we
about
wait?
that.
What did we even do to do that? I don't even think.
I don't know.
I don't even
It
think.
just clicked off of it, and then I clicked back on it, and then
And then
it
it
worked.
fixed.
Then it worked.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, that was really easy of a fix. We just turned it on and turned it off
Oh,
again.
yay!
All right. Cool.
Yay!
All right. So again, we're gonna be talking about the world of Volnika Lam and everything she's overcome. Could you introduce yourself and where you're located and how did we meet?
Okay. My name is Vala Nicolum, and I am remoting in from Eureka, California, which is in Northern California. And you and I met in 2008. My daughters wanted to learn how to do Taekwondo, and we walked into the studio that you were already there. And at that point in time, you were a pretty advanced martial artist. And
I was
my
like
girls
I was a
and
white belt.
you were doing really good. You were there for months, or so much more advanced than we were. And but with us both having very similar nationality backgrounds, you and your sister and my daughters, you guys looked like sisters, and everybody thought you were my sisters. And from that time, I loved you and your sister so much, and it's just you guys have always been important to me.
When how I guess we've known each other since I was 9, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're 9.
You're pretty much my second mom.
Yes,
pretty,
I consider
pretty,
you my daughter.
pretty much. Okay, so the topic overall, and we're celebrating National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I really wanted to have you on as someone who is a breast cancer survivor yourself. And thank you for being comfortable with talking about your experience and your journey. The first question I have for you regarding it is when were you diagnosed with breast cancer and what stage were you diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed in 2015. And just like they had mentioned earlier, there are like 4 stages of breast cancer.
Mhm.
The first one is when the cancer is inside the cell, and the stage 2 is when it is in the cell walls, and stage 3 is when it has like started invading the tissues around it, and then stage 4 is when it is metastasized to the rest of the body. I was diagnosed with stage 2, so it had not only been inside the cell, it was now invading the cells of the tissue that was infected with the cancer.
How was the cancer initially detected?
It was detected through a mammogram.
Hmm.
Had gone in for a physical, like a annual physical. It was I had actually had, the primary doctor that I had at that time had actually even done a physical where they just palpitate and do the breast exam
Hmm.
and didn't find anything. And I had gone, and part of the physical for the annual exam was to go in and get a mammogram as well. It was just sort of like a secondary part of the exam. That is actually what detected the cancer for me.
Hmm. How long
with
did you
that.
go through treatment, and what treatment can you share that you received?
I went through treatment for 2 years. But my recovery is still now. I'm still recovering.
Mhm.
But the treatment part of it was for 2 years. The first part of the treatment was actually the surgeries that I went through, where they go in and there was the option of a lumpectomy. There was the option of doing a single-sided mastectomy where they remove the breast, and there was the other option of removing both breasts, even though the cancer was only in the one side. And what I opted for ultimately, and it was more because I had done, research and everything, was I opted for double mastectomy.
Mhm.
And then after that, I went in and I did the chemotherapy as well.
And I'm assuming I asked this question. Did you do any personal research after being diagnosed? Resources did you use after being diagnosed?
I used Google. So, I mean, that's really where I got a lot of information.
Yeah.
And, research also came from me interviewing multiple doctors. I
Yeah.
didn't really like the answers I got out of the first doctor. I saw three, uh, oncology surgeons before I settled on that one. I went through two radiologists before I found one I liked. I was lucky that I only found one plastic surgery, and I stayed with that physician for the duration of my therapy. But when I would talk to each one of these doctors, I would interrogate them with questions, things that I needed them to answer for me, uh, questions that I had, things I needed answers. So that's where a lot of my research with. And then also, too, I did discover that the type of breast cancer, there's like 48 known
Yeah.
kinds of cancers.
Yeah.
And mine still isn't one of the ones that is really, detected genetically. So they don't do that. When they do that blood test and they do the genetic testing, it still doesn't show up. But, yet I still had cancer. Um, a lot of the major parts of like, breast cancer for women is that hormonal, but mine was not hormonal. Mine was epithelial growth hormone.
How long have you been in remission for?
Um, the way that they determine your remission when you have, or at least with my cancer, was the moment that they cut it out of my body. They said they had removed the cancer from my body, and that puts me immediately in remission. That didn't stop me from having to go through, the chemotherapy and all the other treatments that I went through after that. But so that makes it 7 years.
Yeah. Now, I know, so people already know that I've known you for a really long time, and uh, I personally know you're an extremely strong woman. How did you balance your health, personal relationships, and being a mother? Being a mother itself is I wouldn't know, but I kind of my mom, I see it's really hard. And how did you balance all of that while having cancer and undergoing treatment?
Uh, it was really one day at a time.
Yeah.
It was, and your priorities change when you have like all these other things that you're doing, and they just they just gain so much importance to you, and then you have something like a diagnosis like cancer uh, change you. It changes your priorities. It makes you understand what's important. And you and my girls and my dad at the time when he was alive,
Mhm.
those became the most important things to me. And it was just like getting through every day. And that was what was important. And that's how I got through a lot of it.
Would you say that's like your biggest self discovery or like revelation after you diagnosed, like the importance of things, or would you say it's something else?
Oh no, it's definitely important. The people that you were surrounded with. Because before, I thought I had all these friends, and I thought I could count on them. But when you get diagnosed, suddenly people just kind of evaporate and disappear out of your life. And so that's when you start learning who the people are really there for you.
What would you say, or what message would you like to provide women or individuals that are going through breast cancer?
I'm sorry, the
Oh, what message would you like to provide women that are or individuals in the community that are going through breast
oh,
cancer?
for the people that are going through breast cancer,
Yes.
um, you can get through this. You can get through this diagnosis. You can get through the treatments. You're not going to be the same person you were before you started this journey. You're going to be a stronger person at the end.
What would you say is the most difficult part of the journey that you went through, and how did you overcome it all?
The most difficult part of the whole journey was, before I started, before I was even diagnosed, and I really liked being feminine, and my identity as being a woman. And the hardest part of it was, all the surgeries that removed everything from me that what I would consider defined me as a woman. That was
Mhm.
the hardest part. Losing my breasts, losing my uterus, losing everything.
Mhm.
And as a woman, that's what you are, or those are the things that really kind of define you.
Yeah.
And so those were the hardest things. But for me to overcome that, it's like those aren't the only things that define you as who you are. Or if you're, feel like that you are feminine, that's not just your body parts are not the thing that define you.
Yeah. What helped you along your recovery?
Family, friends, um, just uh, my priorities changed, and just having a goal. When I looked through this or looked back, when I was told that I had, you just have to go through the surgeries, you just have to go through the treatments. And then also there's the reconstruction afterwards. So to me, it was just a path that I was going to go along. But it turns out to be more than a path. It's a journey through everything to get to this point.
What advice would you have to give to someone that knows someone that is going through breast cancer?
As a cancer survivor, just even when I had the cancer, I was going through the treatments. You don't really need somebody to come in and be like a hero for you. You know, I can't tell you how much it means or how meaningful it is for somebody just to sit with you. Most of my cancer treatment, I went by myself. But there was the one time that my sister, came and just sat with me through, because it's 8 hours,
Yeah.
sometimes 9 hours, just IVs dripping and taking meds and all the tests that they're doing, and nobody wants to go through that. But it was just like those times when somebody would just
Be there,
sit with
yeah.
you, and that's meaningful. So um just so you don't need to do anything heroic for the person, you just need to be there. And there were even times at the place where I was getting my chemo, I had a friend that worked there, and she wouldn't sit with me or anything, but she would come before my treatment and say hello, hug me. And, that's really all I needed, was
Yeah.
just to know that somebody cared, and they would think they were thinking of me. And then, it just helped me. It sustained me through a lot of the treatments.
I really appreciate you sharing all of that. That really meant a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
to switch up the topic, I want to know, and we want to know, what are you up to now? What's next for you? I know you said you're remodeling your kitchen. I'm like really trying to change it. I'm really changing the topic here. But again, thank you. But yeah, what are you up to next? What are you up to now?
Well, I took this position up here in Northern California, and I bought this really old house, and so I am modernizing it. Right down to like lamp light switches. Those the really old ones, and everything's really old and yellow because it's just time. And so it's like painting. I've learned how to paint. I've learned how to do electrical plugs. Just anything. I'm learning how to lay flooring. So that's what I'm up to now.
And the last question that I have today is, if you could press enter on your keyboard with a message regarding breast cancer that was spread to every person in the country, what would you type and press enter?
I would encourage you to do the tests that you need to do, those screening tests. I know they're not desirable. I know you don't like them. They're, the least favorite thing to do. But you catch cancer in the earliest stages possible, your outcomes are amazing. And so I encourage you to, or I would encourage everybody to do your screening and your tests. Like, it'll save your life.
Thank you. By the way, Lehue says hi.
Hi, sweetheart.
Thank you, Olanika, for coming on and sharing your
Thank you.
experience. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye. All right. Ooh. Thank you, everybody, for listening to all the panels today. I'm going to start our closing speech for the day, and I will see you guys later on stream. Yes? All right. So thank you. That was incredible. That was incredible. I would have never thought that we were going to do something like this for Press Enter, because it like started as like a gaming thing. But I mean, we got to hear Pamela's story, and she is a gamer herself. Like it all tied in together and worked out very well. But with Walanika's 101, that concludes today's ever 4th Press Enter event, Rise Edition, because this month is called the Rise Edition, or it's Rise for the breast cancer awareness theme. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today and hearing more about the 2 survivors that we had on, as well as the 2 amazing representatives from the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Thank you to all the panelists again for speaking. Padia, Twitch for helping me, Razor for helping put together the panel as well. And if you want to learn about how to get involved or donate, please put exclamation donate in the chat. I think that's what the command is. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Game Pink, for chilling in here. Thank you. Until the next Press Enter, we'll have one pretty soon, another one. All right. Oh, and by the way, we're having a tournament this month. It'll be a league tournament. And then again, the Razor Quartz. I should look into this because all proceeds will go towards the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Okay. Bye, guys. See you later. Thanks for watching. See ya.